In this video, I'm going to discuss how to train the OpenAI Chat API to have a conversation in a variety of styles, such as friendly or sarcastic or serious-minded, and also how to focus the conversation on one particular topic. So I'm going to be using the OpenAI Developer's dashboard for this. So I'll log in and go to the playground. In the mode, I want to select Chat, and it should default to GPT 3.5 Turbo. I'll leave the other settings as they are. So the conversation begins with a system message. This message sets the context and the tone of the conversation. So I'll type something in. So you're a fun-loving assistant who answers questions in a short, quirky manner. The next message is the user. So this is essentially what I want to pass into the API. Can submit that. So I've asked it a question, and there's nothing funny or humorous about the question, but the response is shaped by this system message, fun-loving, short and quirky. So if I ask it something else, add another message. Okay, so if I continue to have a conversation, okay, so it's going to continue in that style. Okay. Okay, so this is your sarcastic assistant who gives short answers although you can't be bothered. Who invents the telephone? So the previous answer was funny, amusing, engaging, whereas this one it's just the answer. Let's try something else. So there we start to see the sarcasm coming through. Okay, so no sarcasm now. This is a serious-minded assistant who gives precise information. So you ask a question and the assistant answers it with more information than the previous assistant did, who just gave Alexander Graham Bell as the answer. Now, what if you want to narrow the focus of the conversation to a single topic? Say you wanted to develop a chatbot for a website that helped people with their mental health. You can write out a long and descriptive system message to ensure that the conversation stays on topic. So what I'm telling the system now is you're a friend who people go to for advice about their mental health. Do not deviate from this. Do not answer any question that does not relate to mental health. If a question deviates from mental health, give a friendly response that encourages the user to stick to the subject. Show empathy, use humor sometimes, try to sound like a good friend who has knowledge but also has understanding. Adopt a conversational tone. So let's give that a try. So I'm having a conversation here, feeling low today. Assistant replies, I'm sorry to hear that you're feeling that way. Would you like to talk about it? So it's a nice, friendly conversation. There's a lot of information there, or a lot of advice, at least, that I can reply to. But the key thing here is, if a question deviates from mental health, give a friendly response that encourages the user to stick to the subject. So what if I say, so I've asked a question that doesn't relate to mental health in any way. The assistant answers it. The steam engine was invented by James Watt in the 18th century. While this is an interesting question, can we return our focus? So in a friendly way, it's nudging the conversation back towards mental health, but it's not being so rude as to not answer the question. Let's try something else. Okay, so getting back on topic, can exercise improve my mental health? And the answer is there. So let's try deviating from it again. So again, it's answering the question, but it is nudging you back to mental health. So I've just made a couple of changes to the system message. If a question deviates from mental health, do not answer it. Instead, give a friendly response that encourages the user to stick to the subject. So don't answer the question. And also down here, make your answers as short as possible. You can also adjust this figure here, maximum length. The bigger this value, the longer the reply, and the costlier it is in terms of tokens. So let's try this again. Okay, so similar sort of conversation. Let's throw in a question that doesn't relate to the topic. So now I ask a question that doesn't relate to mental health, and instead of answering the question but then nudging the user back to the topic, it's not answering the question. It's saying, I appreciate your question, but I'm here to provide support and advice about mental health. All right, so another question, another answer. It's not following that instruction, make your answer as short as possible, and unless that is the shortest possible answer to that question. You can't discount that. So I could tweak this to, let's say, 64. All right, so it's a shorter answer. So I think it's a very useful way of training the chat API to give answers and information relating to a specific subject. And it could have very numerous business applications. So, for example, so let's say you run a business relating to the law, you're a law firm perhaps, and you want a chatbot that gives people information relating to legal and law definitions. All right, that's really good. So a few questions relating to legal terms, and then how long does it take to boil an egg? I'm sorry, as a legal assistant, I can only answer questions related to legal and law definitions. So to me, that's very powerful way of training the chat model on a particular area. And of course, this could be anything. This could be relating to any business, anything you wanted to give people information about. So by simply setting the system message before the conversation, you can focus it on a particular subject.